Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
It came in the dark of night, uprooting trees and leaving buildings badly damaged. But somehow, everyone is okay after the tornado that hit the Grand Blanc area. Thank you for being with us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Kimberly Gill.
I'm Devin Skillian. Let's start with a look at when and how the tornado traveled. It touched down in Bicentennial Park near Grand Blanc Road at I-75. That was 1:12 in the morning. What followed? 10 minutes of destruction across almost 6 miles of residential properties, industrial buildings, and neighborhoods before it finally weakened and lifted again near Perry and Vassar roads. That was at 1:22.
And that path of destruction growing as wide as 450 yards. That's 4.5 football fields from one side to the other. The tornado, rated by the National Weather Service as an EF2 with maximum winds reaching 115 miles per hour.
But here's the most important number of all.
Yes.
0. That's how many deaths or injuries the tornado appears to have caused, despite some people's homes falling down around them. Megan Woods live in Grand Blanc, where they've spent the day assessing the damage there, and it's considerable, Megan.
It is, Devin. Kimberly, Grand Blanc Township and the city of Grand Blanc both hit. We're in that border area off of Dort Highway, and let me show you what we're seeing. This road has been, or this highway has been closed for all of today as crews are dealing with these high voltage lines that are in the middle of the roadway, and they're trying to turn it off, they're trying to move it, while also dealing with the damage. So if you look right next to where crews are working, that is a distribution center that was hit hard. And in fact, National Weather Service says that this was where the tornado hit the hardest. So you see that building, it looks like a wall just was peeled off by, and when you talk about how powerful and intense this tornado is, this is that proof right there. It's destroyed. We mentioned we ran into several people who work at this distribution center. One guy, he said he got off, his shift ended at 11 o'clock, and he comes back and he hears about this and is just in awe and disbelief, because of course we now know that 2.5 hours later, that's exactly when that tornado hit. So a lot of people concerned, a lot of people shocked, dealing with damages surrounding their home with trees snapped, but also dealing with parks and pavilions destroyed. So we saw a lot of damage today. We caught up with the township supervisor, who is just happy that everyone is okay.
Could have been some horrific situations with the devastation we're seeing with houses and businesses here in the township. Police and fire, as well as Consumers Energy and ITC, have been out here. We've got some major power lines down that carry a lot of voltage that they're trying to shut those down so they can open up some of the roads again.
And they said that they will be working here all night just to make sure that everyone has their power back on. We saw maybe 30 minutes ago a truck bringing in new utility poles to replace them. So it does look like progress is being made, but it is going to take time. The township supervisor said it may take another day before they can open up this major highway in the township and city. As for right now, live in Grand Blanc, I'm Megan Woods, Local 4.
Incredible. Okay, Megan, thank you. And the timing of the tornado could not have been worse, in the middle of the night when most people are asleep.
Which is why it is so fortunate that no one was hurt. But there is a lot of damage to consider. As Nick Monticelli found out, some people did not get the warnings until the tornado was pretty much already on top of them.
It always amazes me when there's a tornado, the amount of damage it can do and the things that it can miss. And this property is probably the best example I've ever seen of that. You can see barns, trees, sheds ripped and thrown away, but then a home on the same property with somebody living inside, it's just fine.
There was a big boom, so the tree fell on the house, and that's what woke me up.
I'd imagine that is probably the most terrifying way to wake up. Kelly Quijano and her boyfriend were asleep. No sirens, no tornado warnings, just that freight train sound. And Kelly knew what it meant. And
we went running down to the basement as fast as we could. And then it was just, the house was just, just shaking. And I thought I was gonna die, honestly. I thought there was no way.
Looking at the damage to her property in the daytime, her fears of death, understandable. Look at everything this tornado took out.
It was a big barn, very, very big barn, gone.
But somehow the home she was sheltering in barely touched.
It's like a guardian angel is just holding the house because everything around it's completely destroyed, and really there's a little damage to the house, but there's nothing significant. I mean, there's water coming into the kitchen, but for as much damage as it is around here, I'm kind of in disbelief. Like, there's just been moments where I just break down, and it's like I can't believe that this happened.
In talking to Kelly, she says that she does have a lot of family, friends, and loved ones that have called her asking what they can do, how can they help. The problem that she's admitted is that there isn't much. A job like this, cleaning all this, is not a pickup truck and a chainsaw. This is a company that will have to come up and try to rebuild her life. We're in Grand Blanc Township. Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
Incredible. Yeah, well, on the heels of all of that, we've had a very windy day and a big temperature drop.
What a swing from where we were at this time yesterday. Let's get over to Kim Adams for the latest. Kim.
You know, I was just noticing Nick was saying, that it hit without warning because they can't hear the sirens. A lot of times in tornadoes, it's so windy you couldn't hear the sirens, and that's where things like an app, like the 411 Weather app, would alert you and wake you up. And that's why we were kind of talking about it last night, as nighttime tornadoes are twice as deadly as those in the daytime. Now we're dealing with a dramatic temperature drop. Here's the temperature change from 6:05 last night. It is 44 degrees colder in Pontiac, 40 degrees colder in Mount Clemens, and 40 degrees colder out at the airport. So we have temps that are in the low to mid-20s in most spots, but when you factor in these winds, we're still under a wind advisory here for the next 55 minutes until 7 o'clock tonight. We're still getting some winds that are fairly strong, and that's putting our wind chills now in the single digits. So it feels like it's 8 in Pontiac, 9 in Mount Clemens, and 14 out at the airport. Let's go back and visit this Grand Blanc tornado. We started tracking it just after 1 o'clock. It touched down at exactly 1:12 and then continued to move on a 5.7-mile path. So it was on the ground for a solid 10 minutes, 1:12 to 1:22 a.m., 450 yards wide, peak wind 115 miles per hour, puts it as an EF2. Now we're talking about a little bit of snow. You probably saw that flying around in the live shot there and Megan's live shot, but it looks like we'll get a nice warm up. We're not done with the 60s just yet. I'll show you the future forecast coming up.
We'll talk to you in a little bit, Kim. Thank you. There's more trouble looming around a local horse racetrack that's working to open a new location in Plymouth Township.
Northfield Downs just filed a federal lawsuit accusing the township of extortion and other illegal activity. Dermont Fernandez has been combing through the lawsuit and talking with the key figures on both sides, and he's here with what we've learned.
Yeah, you guys, Northfield Downs is the only horse racetrack operating in the state of Michigan right now, and this is a copy of the lawsuit it just filed, accusing Plymouth Township on 8 counts of illegal activity. Today, folks on both sides of this controversy told me they're not backing down. Some thought it would be an opportunity for Plymouth Township to help save a rare and dying business when neighbors learned last year Northfield Downs was closing its horse racing operation and relocating to a site here off 5 Mile and Ridge Road. And now controversy surrounding those plans is getting more intense.
Well, I'm very disappointed in it.
Plymouth Township Supervisor Kurt Heisey is among those learning Northfield Downs just filed a lawsuit against Plymouth Charter Township in federal court this week.
We've complied with the law. We've bargained in good faith for over a year, really, with Northfield Downs, and we were very clear with them from the start what we were looking for.
Court documents suggest the problem centers around the township's attempts to get Northfield Downs to make certain promises under a community benefits agreement, township perks of sorts, which the racetrack's attorney Mike Cox describes in the lawsuit as illegal and extortion.
The bottom line is that they're being extorted. It's by municipal mafia, not the old-time mafia.
Cox claims Plymouth Township wants the family-run racetrack to pay an additional $5 million over the millions it's already invested in purchasing the land. Court documents say the township wants Northfield Downs to spend at least $100,000 per year on a 4th of July drone show, maintain youth soccer fields at $250,000 per year, pickleball courts at $100,000 per year, and build a $400,000 nature walking trail that will cost $50,000 to maintain annually, all for the racetrack to use its own property.
They don't charge that to Myers. They don't charge that to LA Fitness. They just thought they could take advantage of Northfield Downs because they know Northfield Downs has to move.
Back in Plymouth Township, Supervisor Heisey claims it's Northfield Downs that's operating in bad faith. He says township leaders made several offers which the business rejected.
I certainly have no regrets that we went to bat for our people and tried to get the best deal possible for the people of Plymouth Township.
Now, Cox told me Northfield Downs is losing millions on top of the money it's already invested in the property. Plymouth Township supervisor told me they haven't officially been served yet, but township leaders will be meeting with their own attorneys to stay on top of this, and so will we.
Okay, Damon, we appreciate your report. Well, we told you about a home explosion on Detroit's east side yesterday and how 3 children next door were injured. Well, now we're hearing from the mother of those children. She tells our Victor Williams she's pretty shaken up, but just glad her kids are still here.
Well, this is just such a sad story. This is all that's left of the house that exploded. But right next door, this home took more damage than you might have thought. As a result, 3 kids were injured, but the good news is that they've been released from the hospital and staying with family.
Getting the call was very scary. Husband, like, house blew up, kids, you know, and I'm like, this is not real.
When a home on Barlow exploded out of nowhere on Tuesday afternoon, the debris also shattered the lives of the family next door, especially the children that were injured.
I'm grateful that I still got my kids and they are okay with small injuries, but it's just, you know, they scared. They all over the place. It's a scary feeling. I don't wish this on nobody.
Janelle Chavis says all of her kids, ages 6, 11, and 12, were in the front room of the house when the explosion happened. Miraculously, everyone made it through the impact. These are pictures from inside the home just moments after the explosion.
The damages and everything here, it's a miracle that they are still alive and that it could have been way worse.
Thankfully, all children have been released from the hospital. However, it's going to be a long road to recovery. The family lost everything.
I'm still trying to gather my thoughts and figure everything out right now. I'm just happy to have my kids alive. That's it. Like, I'm just blessed. This house is, the material things that are replaceable, but lives not.
Now, the cause of this explosion is still under investigation, but if it's anyone out there that would like to help Janelle and her family, head over to our website, clickondetroit.com. On the east side, Victor Williams, Local 4.
Okay, Victor. A law firm brought in to investigate alleged misconduct by 3 Michigan State University trustees is revealing its findings. D.C.-based Miller and Chevalier confirmed multiple ethics violations by Chair Rima Vassar and Trustee Dennis Deno, saying they exerted undue influence in a variety of matters, including the review of the mass shooting on campus last February. It finds the 2 created a culture in which others feared retaliation for challenging them. The report recommends Vassar and Deno be referred to the governor for possible removal from office. It also found Trustee Brianna Scott should be censured for releasing to the public a letter she wrote accusing Vassar of misconduct.